Dishonored is, without question, one of the most impressive new games to come out this year. Developed by Arcane Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks, this game tells the tale of revenge and betrayal in a fantastical old-world setting. Now, I'm really excited for this game, so without further ado, here are the top 15 reasons Dishonored kicks ass. Coming in at reason number 15 is the overall tone of Dishonored. When I saw the first gameplay video of this game, it reminded me of one of my favorite video games that I've ever played, that being BioShock. The supernatural powers, the old world setting, the emphasis on first-person shooting and stealth are all very reminiscent of that game, so it should come as no surprise that the developers of the game, Arcane Studios, also developed BioShock 2. Some will look at Dishonored as merely a stopgap solution in the months leading up to BioShock Infinite, but judging from the developer diaries and new gameplay videos that we've seen, the amount of effort and care put into this new IP really makes it stand out, and it's one that I can't wait to play. Coming in at reason number 14 is the open world gameplay. Now, each mission in Dishonored contains multiple avenues for exploration and reaching targets, with the traversal and exploration of levels designed to support an array of abilities at the player's disposal, rather than a specific hacking path or sneaking path. Specific elements of missions are also randomized, such as altering the color of a target's clothing in one mission, and requiring the player to explore the game area in order to find the intended target each time that mission is played. While Dishonored is technically a mission-based game, its open-world nature makes it a breath of fresh air from your typical action-adventure titles. Coming in at reason number 13 is the voice acting. It should be noted that several prominent actors provide voice work for the game, including Susan Sarandon, Brad Dourif, Carrie Fisher, and Chloe Grace Moretz. The cast also includes Lost's Josh Holloway as the lead voice of Corvo, John Slattery as Admiral Havelock, and Lena Headley as Callista, a caretaker for the young Empress's daughter, Emily. Now, with great writing comes fantastic voiceover work, and I can't wait to see what Dishonored has in store for us. Coming in at reason number 12 is the weapons. In Dishonored, the player has access to a wide range of weaponry, including swords, grenades, and pistols. Magic and supernatural abilities are assigned to the player's left hand, while weapons and other armaments are assigned to the player's right hand. The wheel-lock pistol in particular can fire special ammunition, such as exploding bullets, while the crossbow utilizes a crank mechanism to take out distant targets. Now, it has been confirmed that coins can be collected to upgrade weapons and gadgets, which only adds to the wide diversity of weapons already available. Coming in at reason number 11 is the mission-based structure of Dishonored. Unlike most action-adventure titles that are either linear or open world, Dishonored takes on a different approach wherein each mission is its own episode or chapter, similar to the Hitman series. Now, each level takes place in a different setting, and requires the player to complete a set of objectives if they wish to proceed, and they'll also be able to replay each level once completed. I just think this approach is very unique compared to a lot of the games currently on the market, and I can't wait to play it. Coming in at reason number 10 is the melee combat. Now, since swords are the main weapons for guards aside from guns, players will have to defend themselves if they wish to survive. Now, the developers have gone to great lengths to make sure that the melee combat in Dishonored feels fluid and realistic. Now, similar to Skyrim, players will be able to wield supernatural powers in one hand and a melee weapon in the other, but they'll also have to block, defend, and strike when the opportunity presents itself. Coming in at reason number 9 is the story. Set in the industrial city of Dunwall, the story follows Corvo Attano, a legendary bodyguard to the Empress who is framed for murder. Now, once in prison, Corvo is offered the chance to exact revenge on the Lord Regent and others responsible by the Outsider, who bestows the disgraced bodyguard with supernatural powers. Now, it's clear that Dishonored is not a straight-up first-person shooter, but also includes various fantasy and supernatural elements that give the story a lot of depth and variety. Coming in at reason number 8 is stealth gameplay. Dishonored is set up as a series of mission-based sandboxes designed to allow for multiple avenues of exploration. And while the game is played in the first person, an emphasis is placed on stealth action and the utilization of gadgets and the environment to eliminate enemy targets. This involves hiding behind objects, architecture, and avoiding the enemy's detection. Players can lean around walls to view the immediate area and eavesdrop, so as long as your body remains hidden, the enemies can't see you. The player can also look through keyholes to gain insight into closed rooms. Regardless, it's nice to see a game that does something different to separate itself from the pack. Coming in at reason number 7 is the AI. Similar to the stealth gameplay discussed previously, enemy AI will respond to sound and can be distracted by the player to lure an enemy guard away from their position. Enemies also have several states of alertness, ranging from normal to suspicious, at which point they actively search for the player. Now, remaining concealed from guards eventually reduces their alertness, but it will not return to normal once detected. Similarly, enemies communicate their alertness to their allies, in turn increasing their alertness level. Now, without the advanced AI developed by Arcane Studios, the stealth aspects of the gameplay would fall flat. That's why I'm so thankful that the developers put so much time and effort into this aspect of gameplay. Coming in at reason number 6 is emergent gameplay. Now, because Dishonored combines first-person shooting with supernatural abilities, there's no limit to the number of creative ways that players can kill enemies. So much so, the developers discovered innovative ways to do so that they didn't even know were possible. In one instance, a tester jumped off a building and just before the moment of impact transferred his consciousness into a guard at ground level using the possession ability, effectively absorbing the impact. The game reacts to dangers in scripted ways, such as dialogue, and dynamic ways, such as increasing the number of rats and plague citizens, and adding new scenes that can affect the current mission as it's happening. And you know you have a great game when even the developers can't predict what players are going to accomplish once they get their hands on this title. Coming in at reason number 5 is Steampunk. Now, for anyone who's seen this game, then they know that Dishonored has a very distinct Victorian feel. The city of Dunwall in particular was inspired by late 1800s and early 1900s London and Edinburgh, and in its early stages of development was originally going to be set in 17th century London. But really everything from the on-rails vehicles to the plague-ridden streets to the War of the Worlds type walkers that constantly patrol the city exude this stylized old-world charm of a city that's so believable even though it didn't really exist. But no doubt fans of science fiction will surely appreciate the amount of detail put into this game. Coming in at reason number 4 is the morality system built into this game. Actions committed by the player are not strictly good or evil, but are tracked by a chaos meter that records how much collateral damage, violent actions, and deaths are created by the player. The game world is modified by how much or how little damage is caused by the player, affecting story decisions with an emphasis on not punishing the player or forcing them to choose one playstyle over another. Playing violently can allow a mission to be completed in less time than taking a stealth approach, but will consume more resources such as health and mana points, which are required more during direct combat. Coming in at reason number 3 is the world building. Dishonored takes place in the industrial city of Dunwall, which is a center for fishing and whaling, with whale oil being a valuable resource necessary for powering the city. Similarly, the city is struck with a plague that is killing the poor while isolating the rich, but the government uses the plague as an excuse to purge citizens as they wish. Infected known as Weepers can become violent against others, so districts are separated by barriers that disintegrate those who try to cross them. It's clear that the developers put a lot of effort into creating the setting for Dishonored, and as a result will provide a much richer environment for the player. Coming in at reason number 2 is the supernatural abilities. Balancing the effectiveness of powers was difficult for developers because they wanted to give players very strong abilities, but at the same time did not want to make the game too easy. Now, the supernatural abilities can be unlocked by purchasing runes and can be upgraded as you progress through the game. Some of the announced powers include Dark Vision, which allows players to see through walls, Possession, which allows you to inhabit either humans or animals, Devouring Swarm, which summons a swarm of deadly rats, and Time Bend, which freezes time. All I can say is, I think the developers have only touched the tip of the iceberg in terms of what players are truly capable of, and I can't wait to see what they come up with. Coming in at reason number 1 is Blink. Now, of all the supernatural abilities available in Dishonored, I've singled out what I think to be the coolest one. Similar to the telekinetic plasmid in Bioshock, at least in terms of its usefulness, Blink is a short-distance teleportation ability that allows you to warp from one location to another as long as the distance is within eyeshot. It should also be noted that players will not only be able to warp horizontally, but also vertically from one level to another. Nevertheless, Blink only represents one of a plethora of supernatural abilities available, and I can't wait to try all of them. And there you have it, the top 15 reasons Dishonored kicks ass. As always, I'm the Millennium Gamer, signing off.